Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises due to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. That's the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in whom we praise. Double honors to our apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well over the flock of Israel. Shalom and salutations to you brothers out here who are pushing the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom to all the Lord's elect Akim and Akwaf, that's brothers and sisters. Akwathim, scattered Israelites and Israelite foreigners, Abarat Zah. This video is edifying. I'm Rapal Ma. Today's lesson and topic is just dealing with, living in the light, being a child of Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah, and understanding what our purpose is here in this lifetime. There's a lot going on. Coming back to this truth can be chaotic and crazy. For some, for many even. But just understand that the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah will lead us into greener pastures. He'll lead the righteous into uprightness and into their lots in these last days. Everybody's being led to their lots. Everything is falling into formation as we speak. And that's the power and the will and the might of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua for foreshadowing over all events and all, ideas, overwhelming man's dreams or his visions or his self-importance that he puts on himself. More importantly is the will of the Heavenly Father and how everything that he said he would do, Isaiah 55:11, will come to pass, and it won't be vain or void. All right, all his judgments. So we're in for a long haul, but ultimately the elect of the nation of Israel is set up for an eternal kingdom in a paradise. And we're slowly marching toward that Zion, all right? Marching toward Zion, if you will. So this is Ephesians 5, and I'll jump to the point here. Ephesians 5:8. But I wanted to emphasize that title here, Living in the Light. The whole chapter is great, but we're going to deal with verse 8. It says, "For ye were sometimes in darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." Okay, we can keep going, but let's stop here for a second. Let's rest. When you go into the interlinear, where it says darkness, ye were sometimes in darkness, you got to recognize that this ye is us. We were in darkness. Now, that doesn't sound too good. That sounds a little scary, but that's the truth. The Greek word here is skotos. Okay? And before I go into the Greek word skotos, let's deal with the origin of the Greek word skotos and deal with skia, the Greek word skia. Now, skia means shadow. It says shade caused by an interception of light. You see your light casted, and then something comes in the mist between you and the light. And the immediate response is now you're in shade. You're in the shadow of that thing that intercepted the light, the interception of light. And so what happens here is there are many teachers, but Paul spoke about having only one master or one teacher. There are many doctrines, but the scriptures only refer to one sound doctrine. There's also false prophets and false messiahs out here. There's so many things. There's vain speech, there's vanity, there's lies, there's deceit. There's so many things that can intercept the light, therefore casting a shadow over you. And so as we keep looking, it says an image cast by an object and representing the form of that object. If something is casted, now let's speak in a figurative sense, not physical. If something is casted over you and you can't receive that light that you once received, whatever that thing that is intercepting your light is and causing a shadow on you, that shadow, that form or that object is on you now. So if you're being intercepted by a, let's say fornication demon, a demon of dealing with idols, idolatry, which is a figurative of fornication, then it'll show up and it'll be represented in you that you're dealing with idols, and that light is being blocked and intercepted by your idolatry and your love of idols. If you're into adultery, that light now is being intercepted, and that you now represent what has intercepted your light, right? Because if Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is casting that light directly on you and you have no shadows, well, now you're children of light. So ultimately, to be a children of light means to escape darkness. Okay, now we getting into it. I also wanted to prove this point. It says apparently the primary word shade or shadow, and then it says down here literally or figuratively darkness of error. Let's deal with that word real quick, that phrase, darkness of error. Uh-oh. All right, so we have darkness of error over here. And what it says is darkness of error is a metaphor representing ignorance, spiritual deception, or lack of understanding that leads individuals astray. It signifies a state of being disconnected from truth and wisdom. Think about that light now being casted, the perfect light, that wisdom, that whole sound doctrine is light, but then it can be intercepted at any point in time, in which whatever intercepts it, that shadow of that thing that intercepts it is being cast and represented in you now. So it says it signifies a state of being disconnected from truth and wisdom, often resulting in misguided actions and beliefs. So you become this misguided individual of that thing that disconnected you from the truth. It says this concept is found in various contexts, including religious and philosophical discussions. Let's drop down metaphorical significance. It says the phrase darkness of error uses darkness as a symbol for ignorance, confusion, and spiritual blindness, in which is completely biblical. Okay? That's what children of darkness versus children of light comes from. Darkness versus light. It's about darkness being in the state of confusion, ignorance, and spiritual blindness. It says it implies that without proper guidance and understanding, individuals can be easily misled and make poor choices. Spiritual and philosophical context. In many spiritual and philosophical traditions, darkness of error is seen as a state that hinders spiritual growth in connection with higher realities. It emphasizes the need to seek knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment, which the word light is an enlightenment. And when you look at enlightenment in the scriptures, the word there is, in the Greek, it means saving knowledge. So it's knowledge. So it says it emphasizes the need to seek knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment to move toward truth and liberation. Brothers, what we're dealing with here is the idea that if we're divided or separated from our light because of these various shadows, figuratively things that put us in error, then we're only going to be without salvation, because that light being casted on us was what was leading us into salvation. I could keep going on in that, but let's get back to this word skotos. It says darkness, right? Darkened eyesight, blindness, night. Let's look at part 2, the metaphor. We're always looking at the metaphorical. Don't skip over the metaphoricals. It says of ignorance respecting divine things and human duties. So it's dealing with ignorance. Again, darkness of error, a shadow casted over you, intercepted light, which means you're going to have ignorance of divine things. And in respect to human duties, you don't even know what you're qualified or you're supposed to be doing anymore. But when you escape darkness, now you understand divine things and you understand human duties. That's being a child of light. That's still being in the light. It says, and the dealing with darkness now, and the accompanying ungodliness and immorality, together with their consequent misery in hell. Now, let's not get too worked up over hell. Let's just deal with this first part. It says accompanying ungodliness and immorality that comes with the ignorance of divine things and human duties. So they're companions. That's what accompanying mean. They're one company. They're companions. The ungodliness with the ignorance. So you can't say somebody is simply ignorant. They just don't know. Yes, they don't know, but it's a companion. Your ignorance is a companion of ungodliness. Your ignorance, when it comes to human duties, is a companion with immorality. So now you become immoral. The word immorality. Quick definition, Google. State of or quality of being immoral, wickedness. So it's simply your lack of understanding divine things leads to your wickedness. So it's a very serious thing. So we were sometimes in darkness, which now understanding it means we were sometimes ignorant of divine things, ignorant of human duties, and therefore wicked and forget the other word that they used there. I could just go back and look it up. Wicked and ungodly. That's what you got for being in the dark. That was a result of the ignorance. It says, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. So now we're in light. As opposed to that state of ignorance, let's see what we're in now. It says, the Greek is phos. But we understand light in itself, torches and lamps and things. But again, we want to go to the metaphorical. Don't skip the metaphorical. Yahweh is light because light is the extremely delicate, subtle, pure, brilliant quality of truth and its knowledge together with the spiritual purity associated with it. So what we are now is in the Father, Yahweh Shah, to be pure and brilliant again, because we have the light of truth and its knowledge. So whereas ignorance brought about ungodliness and wickedness, immorality, light brings about truth and knowledge, and it's accompanied or together with spiritual purity. You see, associated with it. So pureness as opposed to wickedness, pureness as opposed to ungodliness, being in the light versus being in the darkness. Says that which is exposed to view of all reason, mind, the power of understanding, especially moral and spiritual truth. So now you're dealing with understanding rather than ignorance. You're dealing with truth and knowledge rather than ignorance. There you go. Light rather than darkness. 1 Thessalonians 5:4. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. So again, the darkness is a shadow casted. It's an interception of light by some wicked ideal, some evil, wicked, false doctrine, or even a false pseudo teacher and prophet that's just there to intercept the light. Your job is to step out of the shadow, or step away from the darkness and come back into the light. At any point you find yourself back in a dark place, you step out of that, because the shadow is just casted, right? You can't cast a shadow over everything. You got to have children of light somewhere. They're going to be out of the shadows, in the open, in the public, more, as it was defined. It says, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief, because you also understand what's going to happen and what's going to take place. That's prophecy. It says, ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober, because that's what you do. Whether it's night or day, physically, outside, you're awake. You're children of the day, so you behave as you would in the day. When you're children of night and in darkness, you behave as you would if it was dark. You go to sleep. When your mind is awakened and aware in the light, it's hard to sleep in the light, but it's easy to sleep at night. Well, you're watching and sober. That's your mentality. That's the idea. That's who you are. NLT says, so be on guard, not sleep as others. Stay alert and be clear-headed. See that sober-mindedness? So this is our job. This is our duty now. See how the darkness represented somebody who is ignorant of human duties as well as divine things? You understand your duty, your job. Be on guard. Don't fall asleep. Stay alert. Be clear-headed. Watch. Be sober. The duty comes with the divine things. All right? So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I brought this out. This video was edifying. Until next time, shalom.